evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and this is yet another edition of my For My Students video series. This particular video is going to be addressed to Roberto Blake, and we had a lot of common ground. I made a video response to you not too long ago. You left a very large comment on that particular video, and now I'm getting back to responding back to you. Okay, so we had a lot of common ground. We agreed on a lot of things. I'm going to once again use my computer monitor as a teleprompter, and I know you won't mind me doing that, mainly because there was a lot of things you said and a lot of things I said, and it just make it a lot easier for both of us. Okay, so let's just get into this and see where it goes. Okay, so what did you have to say? You said, I know you got your views and subs legitimately, so we could both agree on that. Congratulations to you, and congratulations to me for doing such an excellent job. I know you've got more views and you got more subs than I do, but that's okay, I'm building up. Okay. This was just an FYI for anyone else viewing because it comes up often. Like you, I didn't want people to think that was the answer as well. We agree on that. As for only using my techniques, I point out that people should use as many viable methods as possible, including those that Tim Schmoyer and Daryl Aves, and if I mispronounce those names, I am so sorry. You're more than welcome to correct me. Advocate. Proving that they only use my methods, no insights of their own, etc. would be unrealistic, and when people try to go that literal, they are using circular logic that doesn't work in the real world. I agree with everything you just said. Okay, let's go on here. I watched the movie The Shawshank Redemption. I guess we both did. Yes, persistence is important, but there are plenty of people who speak loud and are persistent, but talent is sometimes a variable and sometimes circumstances. Well, I partially agree with you. I also believe that talent can be learned. If someone possesses a large vocabulary, high analytical skills, good observation skills, and true logic, they can develop many talents. I will elaborate on this later in this video. Okay. You go on to say, there are programmers who are very smart but don't have the imagination to break through a glass ceiling. There are people who are great designers but lack the ability to communicate their ideas or sell themselves to clients and thus struggling. And my response to that? Some people possess these skills naturally, but fortunately these skills can also be learned. I will elaborate on this later in this video. And then you say, persistence has not necessarily changed their circumstances, so it takes a bit more. Persistence is important, but it's not enough, and I agree with that. Then you go on to say, a strategy or even outsourcing your weaknesses matters too. Teaming up with a business person, for example, would help those people, or getting coaching or partnering with each other, etc. Here's my response to that. Many of my students do not have enough money to outsource anything, much less advertise anything. I know I particularly struggle with that as well, but they struggle with it more than me. Okay? However, okay, that's why my channel offers them some alternatives. Now, here's the thing. Number one, I just published an Amazon Kindle book, and the title of that book is The Key is Logic, and I have left a hyperlink down here in the description below. Now, I know what you're going to say later on in this little discussion about being particular about that kind of thing. However, when I'm dealing with my students, not with you particularly, but with my students, I want them to learn proper terminology, because when they seek higher paying employment, in other words, they're seeking a higher paying job, employers are impressed with proper terminology, at least the ones that I deal with. Okay, and they are very impressed with stuff like that. When they see that you've gone the extra effort of learning these kind of extra things, they think, that's a smart person. We want that person. That's why I emphasize. It has nothing to do with you at all. It has something to do with them. Remember, my students are watching this video right now as well as you. So I want them to learn how to use proper terminology. See what I mean? So, like I said, that has nothing to do with you, but it has something to do with them. So that's why I said it. Okay. It teaches people, this book I've written, it teaches people how to be more observant and how to develop logic skills. Okay. And if you're wondering, the book is $5. It's on Amazon Kindle right now. You are more than welcome to buy it and read it and see what I've decided to teach everybody. And for my students, I say please, this is very vital. You need to buy this book. You need to read it. And you need to develop the skills that are in it. Because if you don't, you're going to find it a lot harder to acquire decent employment. I'm not kidding you. I know the job market out there, and I'm telling you, if you don't have these extra skills, you're not going to make it very far. I'm telling you that from personal experience. Okay. So why are these skills so important? Now, as for YouTube land, I have stated before I rely heavily on response videos. You can call me old-fashioned. Go ahead. I don't care. But I learned something valuable about video responses. When you upload a video response to someone, that someone sometimes will feel obligated to watch the video. Now you have to keep in mind, I came from a farming community, and our values are a little different than, say, values of people from New York City or from LA or maybe London or Rome, Italy, for that matter. So values do variate from place to place, but from our perspective, from the farming community's perspective, if somebody went to that much effort for you, you would at least take the time to see what they said. In other words, if you wrote out a great big 10-page letter to your neighbor in a farming community, that farmer would probably read that 10-page letter all the way straight through. He wouldn't miss a beat, because those are farmer moral values. That's what they are. Okay? I could go on and elaborate on this. I'm not going to, but you get the idea. Okay? Now, why would these people watch your video? It would be just like in the farming community. Why would they read your letter? They would be curious about what you said about them. And they would probably, from my perspective, they would sit there, they would not only read the letter, but they would probably write a 10-page letter out responding to yours. Same difference here. So, when you make a video response to those kind of people, they'll watch. That is a guaranteed view. Okay? And they will probably watch your entire video because they want to know everything you had to say about them. So that's a lot of watch time. And as you have stated in your videos, and I'm also stating here, watch time is very important to YouTube. So the more watch time you get, the more popular your channel is. But what better way to get your watch time up than to make a video response video? Anyway, let's just say many of these people that actually watch your response video and go ahead and write out a response back to you, they'll actually leave you nice comments. Those kind of people will. They'll just say, if you're really nice to them and you say some nice things about them, or better yet, not just say nice things, but to ask questions of them. They love it when you ask questions of them. That means you actually paid attention to what they had to say on their original video, and you thought about what they said on their video. Okay, so not only did you watch their video, but you thought about what you saw on their video, and you made a response back to them. You asked them lots of good questions. If you do that, many times they will leave the answers to those questions in the comments under your response video. And some of them, just like with Crazy Josh Cravey, he will actually make video responses back to me after I made a video response to him. And that starts a good dialogue. And when that happens, boom, there you go. You got a subscriber for life. There you go. As long as you don't blow it. Okay? Alright. Anyway, there are other ways to acquire subscribers. Obviously, you can tap into a sub-for-sub community for short periods of time for very specific goals. Let's say you're at 50 subscribers and you want to go to 100, so you would tap into a sub-for-sub pool and pull yourself up to 100 subscribers so you could feel accomplished. You could do that. But I wouldn't rely on it, because a lot of those people will either disappear or they won't watch your videos, and so either they're dead weight or they disappear, and that's no benefit to you. So if you're trying to reach an immediate short-term goal, like I was at nearly 900 subscribers. I wanted to get to that 1,000 so I could have the extra feature on YouTube. I did it, and there you go. And now I've got the extra feature. But I'm not relying on that anymore. If I get real close to a goal and I need to just go over the edge, I'll do it again. But unless I'm really reaching let's say I was at 9,900 subscribers and I wanted to get to 10,000 because I know that they have this little plaque or whatever that YouTube sends to you if you get 10,000 subscribers, and I was that close, I'd use sub-for-sub again just to get over that hurdle. But I wouldn't rely on it, and I don't to this very day. So if we don't want to rely on sub-for-sub, what else can we do besides video responses? Because that actually does take a lot of time. Okay. Now, another good way, another effective way to get subscribers is through Twitter. Now you say, well, man, we all know the advertising hurdles you have on Twitter. Now here's how this one works. First, you look up some kind of a topic on Twitter and you see all these tweets about that topic. And then you ask these people questions about their responses to that topic. And then after a while you start a dialogue with these people. Eventually they start following you on Twitter. When they do and you get enough of them, then on your own Twitter feed, not on theirs, but on your own Twitter feed, you post hyperlinks to your videos. And again, I'm going to say that was something that it was just like my teacher back in high school. I had an English teacher, and she used to slap me around because I used the word understand when I should have used the word comprehend. And I'm glad she did, because it made it possible for me to get higher paying employment. Okay? And that's something I'm trying to teach my students as well. So we'll skip that and we'll go on. Okay, I didn't know whether I had said that before, and sometimes I forget things, and let's go on. Alright, so, back to Twitter. If you will post hyperlinks to videos on your own Twitter feed with lots and lots of followers, there's a good chance they'll see it in their feed, because the stuff on your feed is kind of interacting with their feed, and there's a good chance they'll see it, and there's a good chance they'll watch your videos. And when they realize what kind of a YouTuber you are, they'll most likely subscribe to you too. And that's another way to get YouTube subscribers. Alright? So anyway, a combination of video responses, sub-for-sub communities, and the acquisition of Twitter followers could increase your YouTube subscriber base, your YouTube lifetime view count, and your watch time. It depends on what you post up on YouTube as to how long these people will watch. I will discuss. Now, you actually sent me 2 comments. Okay, you didn't just send me 1, you sent me 2. The second comment you sent to me, I will cover in greater detail in another video. So, bear with me, I will get to that later. Alright. Now then, the next thing you say, as for the word feel that could be misphrased, but we're mincing words, and you took that rather personal, which I can understand. But saying you deserve a video response or saying that you expect it because you did it doesn't mean much, because of the simple fact our situations and schedules are not the same. I will be the first to admit that our schedules and our situations are not the same. And you could use the analogy of a farmer. When the farmer plants a crop, he deserves a good harvest, especially if he works that hard at it. but that doesn't necessarily mean he will obtain a good harvest just because he worked so hard to plant the crop. But this doesn't change the fact that he deserves a good harvest. And it won't change his feelings of disappointment when he doesn't acquire his harvest. Now, thankfully, I'm one of those rare people, and I do say this, it's rare anymore. Now, where I came from, it was quite common, but unfortunately, people today are not like what I am. And you see this all the time. I do know how to handle disappointment. It's sad, but it's true. But unfortunately, some of my subscribers do not. If they produce a video response to me, I do feel some obligation, thanks to my farmer training, to upload a video response to them. I don't want them to become discouraged and throw in the towel. Because if they throw in the towel, they'll just give up. They'll go back to their sedentary lifestyle. They'll end up in massive poverty. They'll end up being evicted and starving, and I don't want that for them. So that's why I feel a particular need to make video responses to them if they go to the trouble of making a video response to me. Now, I know you probably don't feel that way, and that's fine. That's fine. But because of the way, the platform I'm running on my channel, because I know these people get so easily discouraged, which they shouldn't, but they do, and until they get better training on that, see what I mean? So, like I said, do I deserve a video response? I feel I do. Just because you don't give it to me doesn't mean I don't feel I deserve it. It just means that you won't give it to me. That's fine. Cool. I'm cool with that. Okay. But anyway. But on my channel, if somebody goes to the exact trouble of making a video response to me, I will make a video response to them, just so that they won't get discouraged. Because they get discouraged, especially the people I deal with on a regular basis. I don't want to see them throwing in the towel, becoming sedentary, going homeless, and being evicted and starving and all this other stuff. That's just my way. Okay, and then you say, by the way, YouTube did away with video responsive native to the platform for a reason. I miss it sometimes, but it has also left YouTube culture in favor of reaction videos per se, which are a slightly different thing. I take your point, but YouTube is not about conformity, and it's about individuality. I also don't appreciate the lack of observation skills. Dig insult. Okay. My response to that. Before I began uploading videos to YouTube, I assumed a great many of things. And man, I've had to correct a great many of my assumptions. I really have. I assumed that most people had received an education comparable to what I received when I was in high school. And apparently I received a lot better education than I actually realized. Shoot, when I was a kid, I didn't think I'd received a very good education at all. But now that I've been on YouTube for 7 years and have dealt with so many people, which I didn't deal with when I was a kid, I've changed my opinion quite a bit. And so I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't want to presume anything. Because presumption has gotten me into more trouble than anything else. I cannot tell you. Okay? Now, I personally have met people, they appear to be scholars, and their demeanor is scholarly, but when you get to really know them, they're not really scholarly at all. Okay? They don't possess good observation skills. They don't possess logic. I'm not kidding you. These are people that have gotten out of college with PhDs. And you would think that they have good observation skills and logic. Boy, that's absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. So I deal with this all the time. So like I said, I presume nothing anymore. Okay? Well, when I first responded to you, I didn't know a whole lot about you. I'd only watched maybe like 1 or 2 of your videos, so I really didn't know you that well. I knew you were educated and all that, but I didn't know... I had no idea whether you knew anything about early YouTube days and video responses and all this other stuff. So I didn't want to presume something that later on I would regret. And my presumption on this was wrong, and I do want to apologize to you for that remark, because I presumed erroneously, and I'm sorry. like I said, presumption in my case has gotten me in more trouble than anything else that I could possibly think of. So, again, I want to apologize to you for that. I just simply was not aware. I had not watched enough of your videos to know that you were aware of all this. So, you have my deepest apologies, and I'll just leave it at that. Okay? It is good to know that you are aware of video responses in the early days of YouTube, so you and I are kind of on the same footing. I started my channel in 2009, which is about 4 years after YouTube actually got on the air. Actually, I had been watching YouTube videos since 2006. I actually set up a channel in 2006, but I didn't upload videos until 2009. So I'd had a lot of experience with commenting on other people's videos and watching a lot of other people's videos before I ever started, uploading videos to YouTube myself. So, and it's pretty obvious to me that you do understand, whether you agree with it or not, but you do understand, or as my teacher would do, and never mind, forget it. I hate it when my teacher screams at me in my head, "That's comprehend and not understand." You just want to shut her out, but after all I spent a year with that. Can you imagine being a whole year with a teacher that does that? It's horrible. So anyway, you always have those little flashbacks. You think you can forget about them, but boy, even after 25 years, you don't forget about them. I know people think you do, but you don't. So anyway, let's just go on. That's stupid. Anyway. So you do understand why I value video responses, even if you don't agree. Okay, let's go on here. Alright, whoops. Hang on. Lost my place. Oh, there it is. Okay. It says, you say debt-free is super important and one of the things that put people on a path to wealth management. We agree on this. I'm not saying that you're super struggling or anything like that, but I'm making a different point. Yes, many people lack observation skills. Yes, this is true and should change, but until it does, leveraging it to one's advantage is smart marketing and lucrative. Okay? Me, I say, I'm hoping people will read my Kindle book and acquire the observation and logic skills that are clearly stated in them, and, well, only time will tell whether they actually do or not. Okay. Now then, you go on to say, I get what you're saying about the specific sub-for-sub communities that you engage in. That method is less obtrusive than the way you're doing it is not that bad. The overwhelming majority of people who do it, however, do not do it the way you approach, and are much ruder and abrupt about it. In fact, many of them never engage with the original creator of the channel to just ask for subscribers. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I would recommend more video responses, more Twitter feeds, and less sub-for-subs. I really would. Yes, I remember video responses from back in the day. I was watching videos long before posting, so yes, I remember. But the platform has shifted away from that. I hate that they shifted the platform away from that. I feel it's very important to do it. I know we don't agree on that, but that's okay. Alright. I also know that I'm not alone in the YouTube community for saying that I don't think they should have shifted away from that. There's a lot of us out there that said they should have just kept that. It wasn't hurting anything, and if we wanted to rely on it, that was our feeling. Okay. It actually has worked rather well for me, and I know it's worked rather well for a lot of YouTube people. So, anyway. You go on to say, active responses are important, and quite a few actually do give me comments, and a lot of them write me direct messages and email, and many of them follow me to other platforms and engage with me, and many of them face-to-face directly interact with me in Blab. I've never heard of it. It's only recently that I have gotten out of the situation where I've had sleep deprivation due to my job. So, anyway, let's go on. That is the way we engage. That is the way we engage rather than video responses, because that is static. Instead, we engage in real time, which just feels more human. Alright. One of my subscribers is actually now my co-host on a Blab show. I agree with you for your channel type and viewership. You have measurable results and success, which is cool. As for active engagement, I respond to just about every one of the 5,000 comments on my channel. I'm encouraged to hear this. Many large YouTubers just ignore their viewers. It's sad, but it's true. That is my response to you. Okay, now getting back to what you said. By the way, as for the job market, most opportunities, according to a LinkedIn study, 80% are based on networking relationships. There are also non-technical labor jobs. There are also non-technical labor jobs available, roofing, movers, etc. Agree with you, robotics will hurt this market over the next decade, but we are moving slower on that in the United States than abroad. I actually am very into that industry as an enthusiast. And I agree with your technical skills. I agree with you, technical skills are leverage. We agree. But I would argue that coding would be more lucrative than YouTube long term, but I think we agree on that. And there is still a lot of money in blogging and even more in podcasting, believe it or not. John Lee Dumas and Pat Flynn being good examples of this. Actually, you might be very good at podcasting. Well, I thank you for the compliment on that. I've taught much about web programming on my YouTube channel. These lessons are free for my viewers. I hope they take advantage of my lessons. One of the things I'm running into, and this is why I wanted to cover your second set of comments on a different video, there is something called the Bézier curve, and I probably am not pronouncing this right. I've tried so hard on this. I'm going to write this down here. This is what I'm researching for SVG, and I feel that once I master this, then I will be able to produce all the graphics I need, which means I'll finally be able to put up those thumbnails like I'd like to do, and so on and so forth. I think you're finally getting the picture. That's why I'm waiting to use the techniques in your second set of comments until I master this. Once I do, then we'll go on from there. Okay, I will upload a video about this as soon as I master it, and if you have any ideas on how to master this, I'm all ears at this point. And like I said, once I master this, I will put it up on my YouTube channel, and I will teach everybody how to do it. And when they do, they can then start making their wonderful thumbnails and everything else, and then I'll suggest all the things in your second set of comments. So I have not ignored them. I'm just going to use them as soon as I master this one topic. That's it. Okay. Alrighty. I do hope that when I finally get a chance to upload a lesson on those kind of curves, that you will watch the lesson and maybe recommend it to everybody, so on and so forth. Okay, anyway. Then you say, I think you might have been thinking about network marketing versus affiliate marketing. I'm talking more about web hosting, affiliate marketing, and Amazon. That is a bit different. I did a video on Amazon affiliate marketing and a video more based on affiliate marketing. With your text-to-speech software, what about joint venture partners who could help you market and sell it for a percentage of what? Or what about licensing the software to a bigger company? I think outsourcing the weakness of marketing or sales could be successful. Well, it's kind of in disarray right now. I was using Microsoft Office to do it, and I'm going to have to adjust it to JavaScript before I get anything going. I will get back to it one of these days. Like I said, it's kind of in disarray right now. But as soon as I do, we might talk about that. Okay, you say, my GPA wasn't fantastic, but I wasn't failing, and I was still retaining more than most of the class who had easier circumstances. Ultimately, that didn't hinder me when I entered the job market as a web designer, as leveraging my body of work and referrals from freelancing was more important. I can personally tell you that I struggled quite a bit when I was dealing with sleep deprivation. Now that my situation has changed, I'm learning more than ever. I still have a busy schedule, but at least I'm no longer sleep deprived. Later this year, I will have a limited amount of vacation time. I plan to take full advantage of that. Then you go on to say, that I don't worry about semantics. The average consumer calls it a link, so I call it a link so they understand. Professional jargon confuses most people. If they weren't dependent on getting jobs, I wouldn't say much about it, but a lot of my students are dependent on getting jobs, and that's why I say that. Okay. At some point in a personal vlog, I believe I did mention learning speed reading, and yes, I have discussed my struggles in videos, primarily vlogs. That's what you had to say. One more thing on video responses. I prefer short format on these via Twitter, actually, for simple questions or just to say hi. I actually spent about an hour on New Year's Eve thanking personally by name 200 people who I had interacted with, who I feel made a difference in my life, or I built a fantastic relationship with, as well as companies that have supported my content or business. Basically a video version of a personally signed holiday card. I did see your video. I liked your video. Okay. I leverage what is, yeah, this is what you had to say. I leverage what is called context of platform, thus viewers who want to engage with me can even do so face-to-face via Blab. Again, I will research that as soon as I get a chance. I'm rather than a static video response. We can do this in real time with up to 4 people plus unlimited live commenters chatting. It's a great engagement platform. For people who have just quick questions, I do quite a bit of Periscope live streaming during my writing and coding sessions. I've never heard of Periscope either. I'll have to do some research on that as well. The struggle I refer to is when you have to work for an employer where you have that ceiling that they set artificially. It is hard. I've been there. Memory techniques are good, and I actually learned those as a child through my mother, not through the book you mentioned, but through a series of various memory games and training. It's why I can retain a large volume of knowledge and do video editing and coding, etc. I also learned to type very fast at a young age. So did I. Those skills contributed to my overall success, as did eventually learning to use meditation to deal with my anxiety and ultimately overcome it. Yes, sleep deprivation is a huge issue. Tackling that is important, and now that you don't have that issue, I agree you will go further. I agree with that as well. You also brought up you don't think I understand YouTube. Again, that is because of a lot of presumptions that have gotten me in trouble for many, many years, and again, I apologize. But the 1 million minutes of watch time a month refute that. Now, I will say this. I agree that okay. I realize that you have the whatever million, you have the view, you have the number of views, but views, of course, can be a little deceptive. People can view your videos for 2 seconds, and there you go. But now that I know that you have 1 million minutes of watch time, I can see how legitimately successful you actually are. So, my apologies to you. Okay. So, again, unfortunately, I presumed something I shouldn't have. I apologize. Obviously, you know more about YouTube than I thought you did, and it's good to know that you do, because, like I said, I just didn't know you well enough to make that kind of presumption. Anyway, let's go on here. You said, I ultimately believe that we agree on more things that we disagree on, and it comes down more to personality and experiences than anything else. And I agree with that as well. Thank you for responding to me. Thank you for all the tips you gave to me. Once I learn that curve, I will implement as many of those techniques as I possibly can. I will continue to do the Twitter and the video responses until I can get enough revenue generated to get out of the mess that I'm in right now. It's not a bad mess. It's just more annoying than fatal. Okay, it's just an annoying little mess. As soon as I get out of it, there you go. So anyway, again, I want to thank you for your response. If you want to respond back to this, you leave whatever you want to leave in the comments below. If you want to do an actual video response, go right ahead. I'll look forward to it either way. And Hopefully, if I figure out some more techniques, I can share them with you. If you do get a chance to read my book, by all means, review it. Let people know what you think of it. Whatever. Alright, for my students, I want to just say to you, thank you very much for watching. You can leave any comments you want to down here in the comments below. If you want any more of my assistance, I'll be happy to do that. If you make a video response, I will make a video response to you. That is the way I grew up, so there you go. Alright, this is Ted the Speed Learner signing off. I will tell you more in a future video, so I want you to stay tuned.